Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 24th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 27 live feeds. It was day 47 in the house, and took a while, but we had a veto competition. We have some veto results, and there's plenty to talk about. And with me to talk about it all, Scally. How you doing, Scally?
Hello. I'm going to say, given all of the events of yesterday, tentatively good, but we shall see. I am doing well and excited to, nonetheless, talk about everything that happened yesterday.
Yes, we will. I will say up front, it was a fairly slow day, I would say. And even after the veto competition, because this is Vince we're talking about, and no decision is likely going to be made until like Monday afternoon, maybe a slow day in general, despite the nighttime activity. But nevertheless, yes, there are some things to talk about. Of course, as you know, Vince is the HOH. He nominated Ava, Mickey, and Kelley with the intention of targeting Mickey. He told one half of the house, Lauren, Catherine, Keanu, that Mickey was a target, but that he'd certainly be willing to potentially, backdoor Rachel. And then he told the other side of the house, Ashley, Morgan, Rachel, and Will, that Mickey is straight up the target, and that if he needed a renom, it would probably be something like Catherine or something like that. And he keeps going back and forth about this, but ultimately it feels as though his true plan is kind of hoping that the veto just doesn't get used. He can target Mickey, send her out of the game, and ideally, in his mind, continue to play the middle moving forward. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, despite this, again, half the house, Keanu, Catherine, Lauren, they would love for the noms to be changed and for Rachel to go up on the block. Then the other half of the house, Ashley, Morgan, Rachel, and Will, they are mostly hoping that kind of maybe the noms do change also, and that maybe Catherine or Keanu go on the block, or at the very least taking Kelley out of the game instead of Mickey. Nobody really wants to do what Vince wants to do, and so that's where Vince starts his day.
Yeah, starts his day very much on the yeah, I've told you who the target is, but if the veto gets used, that's fine. It's like, oh, actually, that's awesome, Vince, because we all have many different plans from what you have. So great to hear.
Yes. And I will say a little bit frustrating to me that like I feel like these players keep playing and listen, it's Big Brother 27. I need to accept this. They keep playing backwards. Like the person in power is like, I don't know, guys, maybe I'll do anything you want. And the people not in power who could be renommed are like, nah, not this week. This week we want something different. Like so far in advance. Like Rachel, when you were HOH, you didn't talk to anybody about what you wanted. And then it barely came together in time. This week, what are you doing talking to people about how you want Kelley out instead of Mickey long before the vetoes even happened? What are we doing here?
Oh my God. She'll keep me stressed 24/7 all day, just immediately being like, oh yeah, it does not matter what Vince wants at all. Like, I know what we want. If we're able to push that through, we probably should start thinking about that. And to that, I'm like, okay, well, let's wait till the veto's used, Rachel. Chill.
Maybe, I don't know, just a thought. So that's a bit stressful, right? And so that's happening, but I will tell you now, it doesn't matter. That's a little bit of a spoiler. It doesn't matter. So the thing that does matter leading into this veto is who's playing and who's going to use it. The reason I said that the day is very slow, I say this often, that Saturday mornings are usually the slowest period of time on the feeds because the veto competition is imminent. And the only thing to talk about is like, well, who should play and who might use it. But nobody's talking super concretely because the competition hasn't happened yet, and they're all just waiting for the next piece of information, which is who holds the veto, to actually make any concrete plans. today, day 47, the day we're talking about, the veto draw did not take place the time it normally does. It normally takes place. These come back from the veto draw by the time the update finishes most of the time. So that is, by noon Eastern, roughly. That did not happen. They weren't even awake yet. The veto draw didn't happen until I don't even remember what time. It was like 5 Pacific or something. Like it was late. It was late. Speculation is because there was a bit of a heat wave here in Southern California, and so they were waiting to have the veto competition at night so that it didn't get too hot. That kind of tracks for me. It was very hot out yesterday. But either way, what that meant was they didn't even pick players for the veto for most of the day, and so there wasn't a lot to talk about in terms of anything, really.
No, they were completely stuck on pause. At first, it was like, oh, the veto draw, that'll happen by 7. It'll happen by 9. It'll happen by noon. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm getting ready for bed. Like, can we pick veto players? Like, I'm getting a little tired over here.
Yes. Now, Keanu did talk about it. He talked with Vince about wanting to use the veto if he were to play and if he were to win. And he's talked about this already. Vince did seem to be trying to talk him out of it a little bit. So this is where I think we can try to figure out what Vince actually wants. Because despite constantly saying, yeah, maybe I'll just throw Rachel up anyway, because screw her. He will then often also say, but maybe we'll just make the decision once it happens. Maybe we'll talk it over, and I don't know, maybe Ashley is still an option. Like it could be Ashley still. And so it seems like he is trying to talk Keanu potentially out of using it in the way that Vince does, which is not actually trying to convince Keanu, but more so just being like, what if it wasn't used? And so, again, an indication of where he seemingly stands. Keanu is starting to read into some of this, like, okay, it seems like he doesn't want to use the veto, which annoys him. He also gets into a little bit of an argument, Keanu does, with Rachel about this. Keanu tells Rachel that he wants to use the veto. And Rachel's like, you can't do that. I will go up. And he's like, what? You don't know that. He's like, Keanu. And he's like, Rachel. And he's like, man, why are we even fighting? The players haven't even been picked yet. And I'm asking the same question.
Yeah. We shouldn't have these hypothetical conversations. Too much hypotheticals. And like they're both agreeing with this, but at the same time, it's like, oh, you guys kind of like need to get on a little bit of the same page because you have been really, really just diverging for quite some time. That maybe we should start having conversations like more in the grounded, more in the reality, but like at least something needs to be happening
here. Keanu does talk with Kelley, and we finally get I think a real solid read on where Kelley stands in all of this. I think it's pretty much where we thought she did, but we didn't know exactly how much she had been clocking. But basically, she's telling Keanu that Vince is not trustworthy whatsoever. And Keanu is like, no, I agree, but I think he's more spineless than not trustworthy.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, he's just not trustworthy. And Keanu says, well, at the very least, he's still a number for us. And Kelley says, no, he's not. He's a number for Morgan. He is not a number for us. And he's like, yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like they're taking advantage of him. She's like, no, they're not. He's just lying, Keanu. Come on. He's trying to say that he accidentally cast a sympathy vote. That's obviously not true. I even heard him talking to Ava before the vote about how they were keeping Morgan. He can't even, I would respect it if he owned it, but he can't even own the move. This is coming from Kelley. Vince is getting read to filth by Kelley.
That's not a good spot. You never want to get read to filth by Kelley. I mean, Vince has had some problems with they took advantage of my emotions and manipulated me. Like, I thought that he had the votes to stay. Well, I wanted to believe he had the votes to stay. I wasn't sure. Like, it is all right, Vince. Like, the story's changing a little bit. We're not really being super, super consistent. So, I like even Kelley is clocking this, and this is a big problem for Vince. If more people start picking up on it, obviously Kelley not the most influential, so we'll see how much damage that really can do. But at least Keanu is still falling for it.
And then I swear to you, Keanu has the gall to start talking about Riley. He says, well, you know, Vince did say that Riley was maybe coming for me. So maybe he was doing it for my best interests.
Hmm. I'm glad that realization has slightly stepped in. I would love to then like take it one more to think, okay, maybe Rachel was also acting in my best interest. You know, the person who was
No, Scally.
Nope. No? Okay. Well, we can't go that far.
Rachel only told him this so many times, said I put Riley on the block because he was coming for you. Riley only talked about how Keanu's game was in the fucking ground and how he would gonna take him out of the game. And when Catherine said, no, why would you do that? He said, watch your tone. I don't like the way the sound of your voice sounds, Catherine. And Rachel was clocking this, but no, Keanu doesn't believe that. But when Vince lies to him and says, oh, I accidentally cast a sympathy vote for Riley against Riley, and then it turned out it didn't work out the way that I thought it would. But also I heard once he maybe said something about coming for you. Oh, well, Vince is looking out for me then. Vince, but Rachel, what a devious mastermind that needs to go.
It is so confusing to me how Keanu would talk about Rachel and be like, I have the best coach in the game. This is the best coach. I have one player in here who's won the game. Why wouldn't I listen to her? And he's even told people like, oh, I'm listening to things Rachel's saying. She says when you have to take out a big target, you should take out the big target. But then any actual thing that we see Rachel tell Keanu, he's like, I don't believe any of this. She's wrong about everything. It's like, well, which is it? Is she a great coach that you believe everything, or is none of this true and she's completely lost?
I'd also like to remind anyone that is trying to say, oh, well, listen, the women, it's not Keanu's fault, it's the women. They just didn't talk to him and they targeted him for so long. As if they apparently have amnesia and don't remember the fact that it was the women fighting to keep Keanu off the block in week 1. He didn't believe that was true, accused them of snaking him, and constantly believed people like Zay and Jimmy, the people who were actually targeting him, over those women. And then eventually, after they tried, and Rachel had so many conversations with Keanu, where he made it so blatantly clear he did not believe a word she was saying, despite her telling him the absolute truth, then they finally started to actually come for him. And he continued to believe people who are still coming for him, the guys. It's so wild. It's so wild, this man.
Yep. And I truly believe, like, if Vince confirmed this, but Riley was still in the house, like, oh yeah, he's still coming after you, but Riley somehow stayed, I feel like Keanu would find some way to believe both of them. Like, it would just be like, yeah, okay, well, maybe it was not that serious, or maybe like, yeah, you're right, but he changed his mind. Like, now I've talked to him and we're good. Like, we're okay. So it's really a problem.
Kelley says he can't claim it was an accident and also claim it was to protect you, Keanu. But you know,
I hate it when Kelley makes sense. It's rare, but I hate it.
It's in a world where you are having a conversation with Kelley and she makes more sense. You have done something so wrong.
Oh yeah.
So Kelley talks to Vince, and basically says, Vince, I think my time is up. I think this is it for me. I'm getting a feeling. And he says, what? No. And she's like, yeah, you know, I would love to talk with you because I feel like we're not friends anymore. And he's like, what? Come, what? And she's like, yeah, honestly, this is like the lowest I've felt in the entire season. And like, I mean, I felt the lowest because of you in this game, Vince. He's like, oh, that sucks so much. I that shouldn't be the case at all. I'm such a terrible friend and such a terrible ally. And she's like, well, you're definitely a terrible ally.
It's hard. Look, Vince has just completely like taken Kelley for granted since the beginning of the season. Like, oh yeah, oh, we have a final two, I'm gonna put you on the block immediately. Oh, we have a final two, I could vote her out.
About
it'd be fine. Yeah, I don't even remember that happened, which put a lot of this into context, to be fair. But I think that finally Kelley coming and like standing for herself here a little bit, there's still the like, well, I might go home, and if that happens, but I'm glad to see it's at least a little bit being confronted.
And so she's like, can we talk? Can we be friends again? He's like, yes, of course. Oh my God, Kelley. Oh, well, I mean, here's the thing too. It's really just like, I mean, I know it. I'm going to look like an idiot. I am, because I'm not putting Rachel on the block. And I know she's in the diary room clowning on me, and I'm going to look like such an idiot. And like, I just feel like I'm going to look like the stupidest person ever. And Rachel, she's so annoying, the way that she talks, and like, she's so much better at this. And, it's just like, and Kelley's like, no, I agree. I hate Rachel, but can we talk about...
It's hard because Vince is saying all of this, and I keep thinking to myself, like, Vince is doing a decent job of lowering his threat level and taking the responsibility off of himself. That works with some people in the house. It really does not work with others. But even with the people it works with, I think about Vince in the final two, and when he keeps calling himself an idiot who made terrible moves all game, when people are like, are we really going to vote for the idiot who made terrible votes all game? I have a little bit of concern of this coming back to bite him.
He's so... this just continues, and he keeps just going off on rants about Rachel. I think hoping that it'll distract Kelley away from the conversation she wants to have that he clearly doesn't. But then Morgan comes in and interrupts and is like, hey, I really need to talk to Vince. And he's like, oh, sorry, Kelley. Bye. And so Morgan talks to him for a while, and they're just doing their thing. There's a much longer Morgan and Vince conversation later that is basically the same thing, just more important. So we'll kind of skip ahead to that one. We do finally get to the veto competition, the veto draw. And we have Keanu and Will competing alongside Vince, Ava, Mickey, and Kelley. Pretty bad draw, I would say, if you don't want the veto to be used, because Keanu either wants to use the veto or doesn't want the veto so that it will be used. Will has competed in like 4 of the veto competitions, and to my knowledge, like hasn't come top 2 once, maybe a 3rd place, but I'm not sure. And also doesn't want to win. And talks about that. He's like, do I have to win? Because I really don't want to, because Mickey's going to expect me to use it on her. So 2 people that either want it used or don't want to win. 3 nominees who, of course, are all going to be fighting for it, except for maybe Kelley, who won't be fighting for it and maybe wants to give it to another nominee because it's Kelley. And Vince, who is probably the only person here who can win this and then potentially not use it.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard for Will to yes end when he has the veto in his hand. Like, yes, and I would use the veto, but... And people are trying to give him excuses of...
That's exactly what Vince does, though.
Yep.
As HOH.
Yep, that is true. That is very true.
I will put up Rachel, and then doesn't put up Rachel. Oh, sorry. Whoops.
Yeah, but Will is not Vince in many, many ways. And so when he's saying, like, people are trying to give him the excuse of, you could just tell Ava and Mickey, like, I couldn't possibly choose between you two. Like, that's not something I could do, which I feel like people have tried to use as a reason if they were to win the veto Morgan between Zach and Vince earlier in the season, but it doesn't really make a ton of sense. And Will immediately is like, well, I'm not doing that. Like, there's no shot of my winning this veto if I can help it.
Yes. So Ashley is trying to talk him into winning, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I need to win," but it's Will, and so he's saying that, but really feels like he doesn't really want to win. So it's looking strange. Yeah, there is somebody mentioned in the chat. There was a strange moment where Ava says to Vince, "I urgently need to talk to you," and then pulls him aside and just says, "I think you're winning America's favorite." It was so strange. I swear to you, I would think she had a secret task
Yeah.
if I didn't know that there was apparently no, like, if there's no, she just like saw it and needed to tell him.
Urgent is a choice. I don't really know exactly. I feel like there was a little much of the America's favorite talk yesterday. Not really sure why this is a sudden concern, but okay, Ava, sure.
It was super weird. That was like the biggest news of the day for half the day.
Yep.
It's like, what was Ava doing?
Yep.
So Rachel does talk with Vince finally during the day as well. And very importantly, to my previous annoyance, talks to him about, the nominations and how they're working together and how she's super loyal to her people. And she wants Vince to be one of those people. And he asks her, if she's willing to vote Mickey out. And in the conversation, Rachel basically says, "I do prefer to have Kelley leave, but I will vote Mickey out for the alliance. Like, I will do what is necessary." And I think that was exactly what she needed to say, because by now it had already gotten back to Vince that she was talking about voting Kelley out. So admitting that she would prefer Kelley out, but that she's willing to do the other thing, admitting the truth, and then saying the thing, is what she needed to do here. But again, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely think that it is the correct move. Like, give the at least half honest. Like, okay, yeah, this is what I prefer, but I'm giving you the truth. Like, I will go ahead and not do that because I really believe in this. I'm investing in this alliance. I want us to work together. So I will respect your HOH, and I would hope you would respect mine in the future. Think it's too obvious not to make that play.
Mm-hmm. So we finally then get to the veto competition. And it starts again late, and it doesn't get back until late. I don't think the feeds came back until like close to probably like 2 Eastern.
Yeah.
So sorry for the East Coasters. But listen, that's what we're here for right now. So when the feeds came back, we discovered that Mickey won the power of veto. And that was by far the worst possible results for Rachel and for Vince.
And for me.
Definitely a very, very bad outcome. Nobody was going to use the veto on Mickey. And if she was on the block post veto, or she was on the block post blockbuster, she was going home. And so Mickey winning this veto, a very bad result. Also, from what we have heard, a very avoidable result. That apparently Kelley did not choose Mickey to compete against or whatever multiple times, instead choosing people like Keanu and Vince. And Keanu apparently pretty clearly threw this competition. Again, I assume Will might have as well. And Vince is the person that came in second place to Mickey, ultimately losing it to Mickey. But people were very frustrated at Kelley and the whole situation, that like nobody was playing that veto optimally. Lauren, of all people, after the veto competition, is like, what are we doing here? Are we all just idiots? And the answer, Lauren, is yeah, that we've been talking about that for a while.
Oh my god, they finally gained self-awareness. Like, this is look, I think that given potential voting scenarios, maybe it could have been slightly worse if someone else won the veto who maybe was not trying to. But yeah, Mickey winning the veto really complicates things here.
Very much so. And Vince is not happy, which theoretically, again, makes it clear that he was not intending to have the veto be used. I don't know why he intended that the veto wouldn't be. I mean, I guess the veto being used on somebody else might have been easier because Mickey could have still been the target, whereas the veto being used on Mickey makes it worse for him because now he needs to put up an actual new target as opposed to just a replacement. But like, he had to have known that the odds were very high that the veto would be used, and yet, oh man, oh jeez, this stupid effing game. Why is this game always so hard for me? Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna look like such a stupid idiot to America. Oh jeez. Oh my god. And Rachel's probably laughing right now. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the worst things always happen to Vince. Poor Vince, just absolutely tragic. This is he's having the worst week here. Clearly.
Oh, for 3 weeks in a row, I've had to trash my game, being on the block, being This was supposed to be my HOH.
Yeah, couldn't possibly do anything with it now. It's over. It's over. That's it.
So Lauren, as I mentioned, also pretty pissed. So, okay, I have a theory about Lauren because famously throughout the season, we've been talking about how, you know, she is obviously very indecisive and very timid, but also like a bit of a sweetheart. She has like chimed in on occasion when people are like making fun of other people. She's been like, hey guys, I think that's too much. She like accidentally said something that she thought was mean and was like, oh my God, that was so mean. I shouldn't have said that. However, she's very young, very impressionable. I believe that, you know, the people you surround yourself with often have a large amount of influence over the way that you speak, over the way that you act. And Lauren has spent a lot of time with people like Riley, people like Vince, who is a massive trash talker. And this is my theory. I think she's starting to be influenced by them, starting to come around to the way that they talk, because I don't think it's very natural to. Maybe this was just how she always was and she was hiding it. But my theory is that I think she has starting to be like influenced by the way that they have been taught. I mean, when you have somebody like Vince constantly trash talking to you, and Vince is your closest person in this game, I think you start to you know, mirror that a little.
For sure. And trash talking has been like tradition in the Big Brother house. It's how so many people bond, especially when someone goes home. Suddenly they're the worst person in the world. We could talk about every single feeling we've ever had about them. So it's unsurprising as everyone else is trash talking and the season goes on, whether it be that you're getting a little tired from the house and you can't keep up as nice as you usually are. And so you're frustrated, so you get a little meaner, or it is to fit in, or whatever the reason. It's not super surprising to see that, you know, we're diving just even, you know, 0.5 into the trash talking.
And people are like, oh, she's not that young. She's like 23. First of all, that is pretty young. But second, I think we can all agree Lauren's a bit younger than her age, right? Like,
I mean, like, the youngest you can be on the show is 21. Like, it's pretty young for being on this show. Like, she's barely 23. Okay, yeah. You know, she is 6 hours into being 23.
It's surprising to me that she's not like a teenager, like the way that she acts.
Yep.
But so when I say trash talking, it's something like this. So Vinny is like, oh yeah, now people are saying that, you know, they don't want you on the jury because you're too indecisive. And now what I will say is I had a similar reaction, which is, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean? I literally said the same thing Lauren says here, which is, what, you think she's going to be like at the key, like, oh no, what do I do? Although I said it jokingly because she might. But Lauren's response is, what? Who said that? And he says, oh, Rachel says that, which is actually not true. That was what Morgan was saying. She's like, well, what kind of effing bullshit is that? What do you mean I'm indecisive? It's like in the jury, like, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, who am I going to vote for? And it's like, oh, Lauren.
Yeah, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like when the mirror is a little bit held up in her direction. Now, for me, I feel like I would rather someone on the jury who is indecisive than someone who is decisively against me. But I can understand the concern of I don't know exactly how to appeal to this person. So I think that Lauren is kind of finding out how the house views her. And I think that while I don't love this as a personality trait, it should be very concerning in terms of how people are viewing her in the game and her winning chances if she recognizes that.
Mm. And it was just kind of jarring because, again, Lauren's like the impression that you do of Lauren, and Ashley has this nailed as well, is like, oh, so, I don't think I'm indecisive. But all of a sudden it was like, what kind of effing nonsense is that? What? I'm not going to be like that. It's like, whoa.
Okay, Lauren.
New Lauren entered the chat.
I didn't know your game. Okay.
Lauren also says, this is the worst I've felt all season. And Vince is like, oh man, I feel so bad about that. This should be the best you feel all season. And it's, I'm sorry, he didn't remember this. She said, and it's my birthday. He was like, oh, and it's your birthday. Oh, happy birthday. But yeah, this is the best you should feel all season because it's my HOH. I feel like the worst ally ever. Like I'm the worst player. Oh my God. Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't think Vince needs to be taking credit for making her feel like crap here. Like, if anything, like, yeah, Rachel shouldn't have said this. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm here for you. Just anything other than like, yeah, I did this. I made you feel like crap. Remember that when you think about this conversation.
To be clear, Vince doesn't say, oh, geez. It just comes out of me when I'm talking. Like, I don't know why. I just feels like he should be an OG's guy. Unfortunately, he's much more of a, like, he's swearing. When I'm saying OGs, he's like cussing up a storm about people. Just keep that in mind.
Never questioned it. It sounds very correct.
It does. I would like him more, I think, if he said OGs.
That's true.
So Kelley also talks to Vince and basically has resigned. Like she's like, yeah, I think my time is up, Vince. And he's like, no, what? Oh, Kelley. And he's like, why did you pick me in the comp? And she's like, honestly, Vince, I was planning to win that veto and use it on Ava. And he's like, what? Why? To cause chaos.
Okay. Still doesn't really explain why you picked Vince, to be fair. I don't really understand that. Could have picked anybody and still just accomplished that just as much. We can get to why you're doing that later because we still need to tackle this first part.
She says, I think my time is up, Vince. I just feel it. And he's like, well, no, I mean, I have to figure, I mean, this sucks for me. I have to figure out what to do. I don't know who to put up. It's like, do I put up Rachel? Like, I mean, she's so good at this game. I feel like I need to take a big shot. And Kelley's like, you don't have the votes to take out Rachel.
Yeah.
But you should just go for it. Go out swinging. Go out with a bang. And he's like, yeah, I should just go out with a bang. I should just do that. But I mean, I would be trashing my entire game. But I should. Yeah, you're right. I should just do it.
Yeah, go out with a bang, and all Vince hears is go out, get evicted, leaving the house, I'm losing the game. Like, no bang. He does not care about the bang. Like, that is not the right argument for Vince. Vince does not want to go home pre-jury. Vince does not want to go home at all. He is not going to take a shot for the hell of it.
Yes. So the way to, I think, try to maybe read Vince, I don't think he wants to put up Rachel. The way he's talking about it is, I will do it. I should do it. It will destroy my game, but I will do it. The it will destroy my game part is, I think, the tell that he does not want to do it. I also don't think he wants to put up Catherine. He certainly doesn't want to put up Keanu. We'll get into this over the course of the night. And listen, I have been plenty wrong about these players. I think because I often assume that they will do something that is remotely in their interests. But I think the way that I saw Vince talking throughout the day after the veto, that the person he is leaning most toward nominating is Ashley.
Yep.
That is my guess. Because the way that he keeps talking about it is like, Rachel is the big shot, but it would destroy my game. But I can't just do their dirty work and put up Catherine. But maybe Ashley makes some sense. Like what about Ashley? I mean, Ashley is just like the middle shot, I guess. And he's all constantly talking about like, well, apparently Rachel's saying that if I put Ashley up, it's the same as putting her up, so I'm screwed anyway. But I think, again, that is an indicator that that's what he wants to do. He wants to be able to put Ashley up without super pissing off Rachel, and hopes that he can find that middle ground. Is it middle ground? No, of course not. If anything, it's like the worst of all worlds because he's pissing them all off without even taking the big shot. But I think it's what he really wants to do. Like the player that Vince is always wants to take that middle shot.
Yeah. There's such a big part of me when Rachel is saying, if you put up Ashley, it is war. It is just as bad as putting me up. This is a shot against the alliance. And I'm like, Rachel, be quiet. I don't want you to go up. Don't do this. You're telling him that if it's even remotely going to be Ashley, it should be you. But the other part of me is like, Vince is really scared of Rachel. So is Rachel using her clout to protect herself and Ashley? Like, I have this immunity idol. I'm playing it on one of us. You don't know who. You don't know exactly how it's going to go. So find somebody else, Vince.
Yeah, and it's like the trick here is that Ashley going up is less dangerous than Rachel going up, because so let's actually look at the votes. Kelley says that Vince doesn't have the votes. That's actually not true, I think. If Rachel goes on the block, Rachel versus Ava is already, it's a done deal. Kelley, Lauren, Catherine, Keanu, tiebreak Vince, it's over, Rachel's gone. Rachel versus Kelley, Lauren, Catherine, Keanu are 3 votes. They only need 1 more, and Mickey is a vote. Mickey is not fond of Kelley, but Mickey has been gunning for Rachel for ages. You cannot trust Mickey's vote there. Is it impossible that Mickey votes to keep Rachel? Of course not. Is there a bundle of evidence that can be dumped on Mickey to be used against Rachel? Also, yeah, for sure. So the votes are certainly potentially there for Rachel to leave against Kelley. Ashley in this spot, Ashley against Kelley, I would say that Mickey's vote is much more likely to be there to keep Ashley against Kelley than Rachel. So the shot on Ashley is much less likely to land, in my eyes, than the shot on Rachel, on top of which is the opposite of how they view it in the house. And on top of that, like taking out Ashley doesn't do as much for you in the first place. And it still pisses off people like Rachel and Will and not Ava, actually, which is maybe the one saving grace. And then you'd have to make sure that Morgan's on board for it, but Morgan has been pushing hard against it. Morgan actually really likes Ashley now that she's not talking to Zach all the time. And so the Ashley idea, what I will say is, I think the only good thing about putting Ashley up is that Rachel is still such a big target in the game. And Ashley wouldn't be as big a target, but I don't really think that's true either, if I'm being honest. I think that people like Catherine and Lauren and Keanu are all gunning for Ashley also, and would go against Ashley just as much. And so I really don't think there's much benefit there. But he might not even be looking at Ashley as much as I think. It just seems to me like that he keeps bringing it back to Ashley, and the way that he's played so far has always seemed so middle ground that it seems like that's where he seems to be angling. But who knows?
Yeah, I think that's what he wants. I think that's what he is leaning towards. It's just a matter of, will everyone else push him far enough? Because you need to push Vince very, very far. There is the concern where people are like, well, if you miss the shot on Rachel, you're going to have Mickey and Rachel coming for you, and they're going to be united. And it's like, Mickey and Rachel are not going to be united. Like, that's what they haven't figured out. And I don't know if it is just them like worrying about like, oh, they're going to both come after you. You've targeted both of them. So it's assumed that Mickey's going to be voting for Rachel, but there is just this concern of I'm going to have two big players coming after me. It's going to be this big problem. Ashley doesn't make a ton of sense, but I see why he's talking himself into it.
So he talks with Kelley about some of this. In the meantime, speaking of Ava, Ava starts pitching to Vince, please don't put up Catherine. Now, this actually does make a little bit of sense for Ava. Now, you have to understand, Ava not in the judges, not being included in many of those conversations. So she is not really up to date in general. She's saying don't put up Catherine because she's saying please do put up Keanu. Now, is Vince going to put up Keanu? Very unlikely at this point. But I think in Ava's mind, Keanu or Ashley, either one is fine with her. Remember, she hates Ashley. Yep. And so she doesn't want Rachel up, but she also doesn't want Catherine up. And another important thing to note here, she does have a good relationship with Kat. I've been saying this. It's not like super, apparent, but like Ava really did like Riley a lot and had a lot of conversations with Catherine, continues to every once in a while have these like personal conversations with Catherine. So Ava does want Catherine there, and I think Catherine there actually does make sense for Ava. And obviously Keanu going up would be great for Ava, but Rachel leaving would also be very bad for Ava. So she very obviously needs to be very careful about what she's pitching here.
Yeah. Catherine doesn't have a lot of people in this game. And so even if like you vaguely have Catherine, like that's more than most people in this game at this point. So I understand why you would want to keep Catherine here more than someone else who is good for your other allies.
What I will say is, so far this season, historically, Ava has been the Vince Whisperer. So this may be another indication that if Ava is like, you know what, Vince, don't put up Rachel, but also don't put up Catherine, Ashley does make sense. Like if Ava is that neutral third party that is validating his Ashley move, that could be what tips the scales to put Ashley on the block. But again, don't take my predictions to mean anything right now, because these people are so far lost in the sauce that who knows what they're going to do.
Yep. It's impossible to track anything at this point.
So speaking of Ashley, there was a very fun camera talk with Ashley. Now, worth noting that Ashley, Will, and Rachel have now made a final three. This also happened. They are, I would say loosely locked in right now, but obviously they are the three in the judges. This was sort of, I would say, like an unspoken thing before it became spoken, but it is now spoken, that the three of them are the three within the five. Exactly what everybody already knows, including Vince, of course. And she seems to be genuinely like loyal to this. She seems to want to potentially go to the final three with Rachel and Will. And honestly, I don't know that I hate that for Ashley. I'm trying to think of like who's a better person to bring that deep. Ava hates her too much. Yep. You certainly wouldn't want to bring the likes of like Mickey or Kelley or Vince or Lauren or Catherine or Keanu or Morgan, who's too good at competitions. So, I do think that puts Ashley in the best spot to potentially win a final. The only problem I see for Ashley is like, can she beat Rachel and Will in a jury vote? That's a little bit tougher. Rachel obviously has a lot of like win equity as a former winner, but also win sort of like people don't want her to see her win. Catherine actually says yesterday that she would vote for Rachel vindictively for allowing her to have gotten that far in the game. Will is very well liked. So, maybe that means you do need to bring people like Kelley or Ava, but that's so tough because they don't like you very much. And they're, Kelley at least is potentially good at comps. And so, it's tricky. It's tricky overall, but in general, I don't think you need to think that far ahead. Things change. And right now, for right now, obviously it makes a ton of sense for the three of them to be working very closely together.
Yeah. And especially for Ashley, who, you know, as you said, has a little cam talk where she has some secret plans. She's not playing exactly all her cards on the table at this point.
Exactly, and that's the thing too. I get it. Morgan's not good at. Morgan is athletic, though. She undeniably is at least a little bit athletic. She did come in second place to Rachel in the HOH that Rachel won,
Yeah.
which was not even an athletic competition. I think that, you know, in a world where it's Ashley, Morgan, Rachel, and Will in the final four, I'm looking at Morgan to win some of those athletic competitions.
Good luck telling Twitter that, but sure.
I know. Listen, I talk about Morgan all the time. Don't worry. So, but yes, Ashley does have another plan, another part of this plan, which is I talk about, like, can she beat some of these people? Well, that is also part of her plan. She says that she has been intentionally playing dumb all season long, but as when they hit the jury, that's going to shift. She is going to start to stop doing that.
Okay.
That sounds very exciting. I feel like it's not very often that I actually see shifts in, like, how a player behaves like that. Like, usually when somebody says they're playing dumb, that's just like how they act the whole game. But it sounds I will say it sounds very exciting. I'm very interested to see what kinds of shifts she actually has as she survives the week.
I am curious because I've never really questioned Ashley's intelligence. Now, I think that do people in the house maybe a little bit. I think we've seen some of that in the exit interviews, but I've always been more concerned about the social game a little bit. So is she doing some of that on purpose? Is she purposefully making these, like, social faux pas and not necessarily seeing herself in the most accurate of positions? Maybe think she's kind of playing with fire at points, but if she suddenly makes it there and turns it around, I'd be very excited.
Yeah. So we'll see, but I thought it was a very interesting camera talk here from Ashley. You know, definitely she is, I think, one of the smarter players in the game in terms of her ability to read house dynamics. There was a very funny moment when Ava was upstairs pitching that it shouldn't be Catherine, and everyone was like, "Oh, Ava, what are you doing?" At the same exact time, Ashley was downstairs being like, Ava's going to be pitching to not have him put up Catherine because she's close to Catherine. It's like, I think Ashley reads these house dynamics better than some live feeders.
That
Like,
is true. That is true. And she's aware of other people. That I'll give her credit for.
so we'll see. We'll see. It's some interesting stuff there for sure. Mickey having the veto is having more conversations with Morgan as well. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do here for the Morgan, Ashley, Rachel side, and you know, Will has always done a pretty good job of this, but, like, Mickey has been so overconfident that she still has a lot of those people. And now now that they know she's here for another week, they have to, like, really lock in and make sure she continues to believe that. Her vote is very important this week, potentially. And, you know, she could win things. So, you know, that is something that they are working on. And again, though, there is a lot of evidence to dump on her if the other side wants to.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of evidence. Also, Mickey might just make up evidence, so you never know. You never know what she will believe, won't believe, might come up with. So I think that as it stands, I feel like Mickey kind of in the middle, but could really be swayed towards other side just depending on what people throw at her.
So Morgan finally gets a chance to go up and talk with Vince. And it is a very, very, you know, she's talking to him all the time. It's a very long conversation, and there is a lot more discussion happening about what's going on between the two of them, because it is not only a lengthy conversation, it is you know, there's a bit of cuddling going on. There is some, you know, I mean, listen, they're touching more than Riley and Catherine touched for the first, like, 30 days of the game. Like, there's some rubbing, there's some talking. At one point he's like, I got to take a shower. You going to stay? He comes out with his shirt off. Earlier in the day, they were talking, and Morgan's always asking, like, do I need to be respectful to your girlfriend? And Vince is like, you're sometimes too respectful. And it's like, oh boy.
You know, people get a little touchy in the Big Brother house. People cuddle their friends. That happens quite a bit. I would say the too respectful line is where I mark an issue. But yeah, again, this is not uncommon behavior at the same time.
I mean, so again, Vince has said, he said a while ago, like about a month ago now,
Yes.
he said to the cameras, he is intentionally flirting with more. This is flirting. Just end of, right? Like this is,
Sure.
he has said so. This is flirting. He said that he had permission from his girlfriend. So that is what is now. What I will say is, and I'm not somebody that will. I'm not judging. People have different relationship dynamics. I think that's beautiful. What I will say is, historically, the amount of people that have said they have permission from their significant other, and the people who have actually had permission from their significant other, there's a pretty big barrier between those two.
I do think it's also different to think about it in theory versus watching it on the live feeds every day. So
yeah,
that's
it's
kind of a
like in the past, it's been like, yeah, I had permission, and the permission is like, hey, it's chill if I do anything to win, right? And they're like, sure. You know, but who knows? I don't know. I'm just talking about historically. I'm not mentioning anything about Vince. Okay, that is just historically. I've watched this stuff for many years. That is often what happens. But Vince is saying on camera that he has explicit permission from his girlfriend, and so this is what's happening. There's some heavy flirting going on here, and it matters. Like, because it also gets to the point where it's like, who's playing who? Because at some point I'm not sure, because right now Morgan seems to be getting the better of Vince, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you're flirting for strategy, but it's hurting you. Not necessarily easier to accept of like, oh, so we flirted for the game and it got you evicted. Not necessarily great, but at the same time, let's see what Morgan can do.
So again, it's a long conversation, and it's like it's a lot of the same back and forth. It's a lot of Vince being like, I'm just gonna look like the biggest idiot if I don't take a shot at the woman that's been after me for so many weeks in this house. For six effing weeks she's been after me. She's been talking about me, and she just put me up last week, and for me to not target her this week, I'm gonna look so stupid to America. And Morgan being like, no, I'm telling you, like, you can trust her. You can trust in this alliance. And I swear to you, there were some quotes from Vince that flashed me back to Big Brother 14, to watching Frank's HOH, when Brittany is being like, no, I'm telling you, Frank, we can trust Dan. We can trust him. You have to believe in our alliance. You can't blow up the alliance. It's too early. It's too soon. Frank's like, I swear, if I don't take a shot and then he turns around and puts me up next week, I'm going to look like the biggest idiot, Brittany. And she's like, no, I'm telling you, that's not going to happen. And Vince is here. I'm telling you, Morgan, yeah. If she takes a shot at me next week and I look like the biggest idiot, she's like, no, I'm telling you, Vince, it's good. It's all good. It's so similar to me. Like, I swear to you, I'm being like, listen, I was glued to the feeds that week. I heard every word.
Yep. Yeah, Morgan's doing a good job. She's applying pressure. She even at one point is like, should I go get the rest of the judges? Should we like have a judges meeting? Should we have this conversation? He's like, I'm enjoying our one-on-one time. We don't get that much of that. And so, okay. But Morgan is putting on like the full court press as much as she possibly can.
And she's really, really pressing hard. I really think you should put up Catherine. I think that it makes so much sense to put up Catherine. And again, they're going back and forth between like cuddling, like rubbing each other with clothes a little bit askew, and then like when it gets heated, sort of like separated, like fine, just put up Rachel then, and it's going back and forth, and it's they're talking, they're arguing, they're talking, they're hugging for a long time, say I don't want to lose you, Vince. I don't want to lose you in this game. And there's no real conclusion reached, of course, because I don't think there will be for quite a while. But she leaves, and he's I love you, Morgan. Love you too, Vince. And after she leaves, he says, she's just naive. She's just naive. She's too gullible. So, where does Vince stand? As I said, I think he wants to do Ashley. He did bring up the Ashley possibility to Morgan. And she said, please don't do Ashley. I'm telling you, put some faith in her. She is so much smarter than people think she is. She has great reads. And I think she can be really trustworthy. She's really going to bat for Ashley. She's telling Vince, like, it is too early to do Rachel, but I'm willing to do Rachel later. I'm not in love with Rachel in the same way. Like I'm very much willing to like protect you and take that shot later, but I do think that she will be with us for at least a few weeks. She's making some good arguments as well, because here's the thing too. Because I'm the guy, the second Vince won, I said, this is the week to take out Rachel. And now I am also the guy saying it's not so simple anymore. It was never simple, yeah. But it's not even as easy or as clear cut to me that the shot on Rachel is the right move because of the way he's already handled the week with the nominations he's already made, the promises that he's been making, the fact that he just hasn't been setting the move up. Big Brother is a game about decisive action. We talk about this all the time. Famously, Kevin Jacobs, a phenomenal player, the one mistake he made in the game, maybe more than one mistake, but like the biggest mistake he made in the game was like being indecisive on 1 week, and that was just 1 week, and it was not this similar position, but like you have to make a decision and set yourself up for it. Again, you look at other like big players and the weeks where they were indecisive. Somebody like Derek, who changes his mind about evicting Zach at the last second because he's been setting it up to evict Zach, and then realizes, oh, this is dumb. Zach is loyal to me, flips it around and starts working in the other direction hard, quickly. He's not trying to like little bit over here, little bit over here. Over here. No, over here. No, I can't possibly ever have one person mad at me. It's just, it's not how you set a move like this up. If you're going to take out Rachel, you need to start getting your allies like Morgan on board for it as soon as possible, instead of being so wishy-washy, making them think that they can convince you otherwise. You need to talk about the things that Rachel has said about you. Say, hey, I keep hearing thing after thing about Rachel. I really think I need to put her up on the block. You need to set these things up. The fact that he hasn't set it up is now putting him in a position where he hasn't solidified anything with the other side. People like Kelley and Catherine are not on board with him to make this move. To make this move would make them happy, but they're not like locked in with him by any means because he hasn't been working on them. He's been spending all this time with Morgan and diffusing Keanu. It's such a mess. And so like, what actually is the best play here at this point? I don't think there is one. He's put himself into a corner. And yeah, maybe at this point, putting Catherine up makes some sense because that at least keeps him good with some other people. Lauren will be with him regardless. He'll still have Morgan. He'll still have some amount of counter. Like Morgan's pitch is starting to make more and more sense to him, given the corner he's backed himself into. Or if he is going to take the Rachel shot, he needs to start working it now, now, because I do still think that's viable, but he has to start working it. And instead, it looks to me like the one he wants to do is that middle ground with Ashley, and I really feel like that is the worst of both worlds. But it is Sunday today. The ceremony isn't until tomorrow. We'll see where he goes from here.
Yep. He's acknowledged it. He even said, like, if I wanted to do Rachel, I should have just put Rachel and Ashley up right away. What am I doing? Why is this the case? I mean, even if he does successfully get Rachel out, like, Kelley has been so dead set on Rachel and she feels like Vince is this terrible ally. Like, I would not even feel confident of what Kelley would do. You haven't gained enough favor as to, like, maybe Kelley would put Vince on the block. Like, oh, I need to use you. You need to be my pawn this week now. Like, I don't think that Vince has a clear good move at this point, and that's the problem for him here. It is every person in the house telling him, do this, don't do this, do it, and so everyone is disagreeing that he is completely spun into a circle.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how I'm here every single week this season, but I just feel like these players consistently, and Vince especially, because he's a player who should be doing better, constantly should be doing better, and constantly puts himself into bad positions. It's wild. It's the same thing with Mickey. It's like Mickey's social game should be so much better, constantly putting herself into bad situations. Now she's a house pariah at this point, or close to. So here we are. Mickey obviously will use the veto on herself. The top options for renom are Catherine, Ashley, Rachel, maybe a tiny sprinkle of Keanu, but I really, really doubt it. If I had to bet now, I would say it's Ashley or Rachel, leaning more Ashley. But who knows? Morgan is a pusher, and she's got a bit of a hook into Vince. So we will have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's hard because I want to bring back up Keanu, where Keanu does not make sense to me in terms of he's having conversations like, oh, well, Ashley will put me on the block, but Rachel's assuring me that it wouldn't happen. So I'm going to pitch for Rachel to go on the block and not Ashley, even though I'm scared about Ashley targeting me and not at all Rachel. He's like going through last week saying, like, Riley's this huge target and you don't take shots on these huge targets right away. You leave them in the game for longer. But Rachel's this big target and we have to get her out the following week. That immediately makes sense. I think it's really hard when so many people are telling Vince, not Ashley, and do Rachel, that I would think it should be Rachel. But at the same time, I think Vince's natural inclination, plus Morgan being the person I think he's probably going to listen to the most, unless, like you said, Ava starts really pushing an agenda, which I think is the biggest obstacle there. Is she going to be pushing something specifically that he's open to hearing? I don't know. I kind of think it's Ashley. Maybe it's just being hopeful. I don't see Rachel going up this week.
We'll see. I mean, obviously, it's really like Rachel going up is so bad for Keanu. Like,
yep.
Rachel is the only person on that entire side of the house that wants Keanu around, and that wouldn't put Keanu up, and that would push against targeting him potentially. And so, of course, because it's Keanu, he needs to do what is worst for his game, and he's actively hoping that Rachel goes up and that they can send Rachel home.
It's so baffling, but this is BB27, so what do we expect?
Yeah. All right. Anything else to talk about, Scally?
No, I am excited to see how this plays out. I feel like it is going to be absolutely down to the wire. I'm not going to feel like I know who is going up until the feeds come back from the veto ceremony. So I'm excited to watch that all play out.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention about these nominations, if he does say put up Ashley or Rachel, he, again, though, hasn't really set himself up super well for success here with the blockbuster. With Ava as, I would say, not one of the better competitors in the house historically. She did win that HOH, but the blockbuster is unlikely to be a socially testing competition. So the odds of somebody like Rachel or Ashley winning, I would say, are a bit higher than before. Obviously, Kelley is there, and she has historically done pretty well at these things. So that's still an issue to get through. But there's still, even if he does take a shot here, and this is, I'm sure, playing into his decision, a decent chance that the person he renoms ends up winning the blockbuster. And so that's another problem that he has to deal with.
Yep. And even Kelley has said that. She's like, I think I can beat Ashley. I don't know if I can beat Rachel in the blockbuster. And so Vince is only hearing Rachel might win the blockbuster and Rachel's going to stay in this house because she beats Kelley in the blockbuster.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is what we have for you today. I will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 27 live feeds, including, I'm sure that Vince still hasn't made a decision, but we'll have maybe a little bit of an update on where he's leaning. Who knows? So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I will be live on Twitch and YouTube tonight, watching tonight's episode of Big Brother. I believe it's a 90-minute episode that has some unlocked stuff incorporated into it as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll be live after the episode for a recap. So we'll have some fun over there. And in the meantime, check out all the other stuff. I played some Blood on the Clock Tower yesterday. You can check out my book, Behind the Mirror, at taranarmstrong.com. And that's about it. Scally, what do you got going on?
Ooh, people can find me and Kirsten wrapping up the season finale of Beyond the Villa on the We Know Love Island feed this week. So that's super exciting. Also, myself and Matt Lagori talking about the challenge over on the Free Agents podcast. And then anything else I'm doing will be on Twitter at Brian_Scally, Blue Sky Brian Scally, Twitch, twitch.tv/bscally. And no, this was fun. Thanks, Taran.
All right. You can also find some Australian Survivor versus the World coverage from me over on my Patreon. I'm watching the episodes and reacting, pausing, analyzing, all kinds of fun stuff over there if you want to check that out. Another episode, I think, dropped last night. So I'll be digging into that today. But thank you all for joining us here today, and I will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.